8 words, just 8 words, and somehow those 8 words detonated one of the most silent, calculated, and devastating moves the royal family has made in years. A private family occasion. No photographs will be released. That's it. That's all the palace gave the world after King Charles met Archie and Lilibet for the first time in 4 years. No smiles, no balcony, no warmth, no proof. And if you think that silence means nothing, then you're missing the entire game that was just played behind those closed Highgrove doors. Because this was never just a meeting. This was leverage. This was control. And according to everything now surfacing, this was the exact moment Meghan's entire strategy collapsed in real time. Let's rewind for 1 second, because this doesn't start at Highgrove. It starts months earlier when Tom Bower quietly put something into print that most people dismissed at the time. A single line buried inside a much larger narrative, but now it reads like a warning no one took seriously. The Sussexes need roughly $3 million a year to keep the wolf from the door. At first glance, it sounds like just another financial estimate, but then you start connecting the dots. Netflix cooling, Spotify gone, commercial deals thinning out, and suddenly that number doesn't feel like speculation, it feels like pressure building behind the scenes. And then comes the real twist, because just 2 weeks before the UK visit, a source dropped something that sounds almost too revealing to ignore. Meghan wasn't just coming back for family. Meghan was coming back for royal magic. Not emotional connection, not reconciliation, royal magic. And if you understand how the royal brand works, you already know what that really means. Access, visibility, association, the kind of image that can reset an entire narrative overnight. One photograph inside the royal circle can do what years of PR can't. Now suddenly the Highgrove meeting looks different, doesn't it? Because King Charles didn't refuse the meeting. He allowed it. He opened the door, he gave Meghan exactly what she needed, but only halfway. And that's where this story flips completely. The meeting happened, but the photograph didn't.
Well, we expected Harry to attend or to come out here solo, but the rumor was from Harry's team, Meghan might still meet him for the Invictus event on Friday. The kids would, might still come around the end of the week so that they could go to Althorpe to see the grave of Diana, because these two love nothing more than wearing the skin of this poor woman. But I said I did not think Meghan would attend with him on Friday if he lost this case.
And that's where everything starts to feel intentional, because right after July 11th, the narrative exploded across media outlets. Reconciliation, healing, Athol in relations. Meghan wins. That's what the headline said. That's what people were told to believe. But then another voice cuts through that noise, and suddenly the tone changes completely. A royal insider says, don't believe the hype. This wasn't a surrender. It was a grandfather wanting to see his grandchildren. People are confusing compassion with capitulation. And just like that, the illusion cracks. Because when you strip away the emotion and look at the facts, something doesn't add up. No photograph, no joint statement, no visual confirmation of unity, nothing that signals a new chapter. Just 8 carefully chosen words that acknowledge the meeting and nothing more.
You know, the way they pursue people who might want to talk about them. This is now an open season. It's fascinating. I've always wondered what the end game of Harry and Meghan's life would be. And I think we're now edging towards the chapters of the decline, because the pristineness has now gone, and that's rather interesting.
Now ask yourself this: if this was truly reconciliation, where is the evidence? Because in the royal world, optics are everything. Every handshake, every smile, every carefully staged moment is designed to send a message. And here, there was nothing, just absence. And absence, in this case, speaks louder than any photograph ever could.
The question now will be, Prince William now has got even more ammunition to say to his father, enough's enough. Let us get rid of this family. Let us even strip them of their titles. They're doing us huge harm, just in the same way as Andrew did. And I think Charles will now, the king now, will realize that there's a lose-lose. Any association with Harry has got to be losing.
Then comes the detail that changes everything. 2 sources, completely separate. One from inside the palace, one from inside Meghan's own circle. And somehow, they both said the same thing. The photograph was the prize. Read that again. Not the meeting, not the reunion, the photograph. The palace insider admits they understood exactly how valuable that image would be. Proof of reconciliation, royal endorsement, a visual reset that could be used for years. And Meghan's own circle, they confirmed confirm it too. The meeting had value, but the photograph was everything. So what does the palace do? They allow the meeting and they keep the image locked away. That's not coincidence. That's strategy. And if you're still wondering whether this was deliberate, look at what happened the day before.
Except that Harry was blackmailing his father.
Yes.
Do you want to see your grandchildren or not? And the king, not being in his best of health and all the rest of that, and being a man who on the whole probably wants to see his grandchildren, wavered. I think that now, that ship has passed. I think that the Sussex's dream of somehow finding a role here, half in, half out, so that they can somehow rebuild some sort of...
Prince William, public, visible, celebrated, photographed, Catherine beside him. The Wills family fully present, fully documented, fully positioned in front of the world. Then one day later, Meghan's meeting disappears into silence. Same country, same moment. Completely different treatment. That's not random, that's contrast. And suddenly Tom Bower's earlier warning starts to feel less like speculation and more like a blueprint that's unfolding step by step. Because if one family is being shown to the world and the other is being kept hidden, then the message isn't subtle at all. It's being drawn in bold lines. Who represents the future and who doesn't? And if you think the missing photograph is the biggest blow in this entire situation, then you're not seeing what's coming next. Because behind the scenes, something else arrived with Meghan. Something that was supposed to turn this entire visit into content, into currency, into control. Because Meghan didn't just arrive for a quiet family reunion. Meghan arrived with intent, documented intent, a full content strategy quietly trailing behind every movement, every location, every carefully chosen stop across the UK. And yet somehow, every single door that mattered was already controlled by someone else. Highgrove House, controlled by the royal household. The result? No photographs, no details, complete blackout. Althorpe House, controlled by Charles Spencer. Every camera, every frame, every angle subject to permission that never fully opened. Birmingham Invictus events, standard press pool only. Limited access. No ownership. No exclusive narrative. One by one, every opportunity closed in exactly the same way. And that's when the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. Because this wasn't just bad luck. This was containment. The most valuable moment of the entire trip the Highgrove meeting produced nothing. No images, no footage, no usable content. And according to the Palace Insider, that outcome wasn't accidental. It was understood in advance. That photograph would have been used for years as proof of reconciliation and royal endorsement, so it was never given. Now pause for a second and look at the numbers that were already hanging over this entire situation. March 6th, 2026, Netflix exits the As Ever Equity Partnership. March 26th, 2026, Betrayal is published. $3 million annual need documented. Income drying up. Title positioned as collateral. Then fast forward. July 11th, 2026, the Highgrove meeting happens. The one moment that could have reset everything, and it produces 8 words. 8 words against millions in pressure. And if you still think this is just coincidence, then look at the timing that surrounds it. Just days before, Harry is already under visible strain. Public appearances feel fractured. Narratives feel unstable. And then suddenly, in the middle of that pressure window, the palace allows a meeting but withholds the single element that could have shifted the entire commercial landscape. That's not emotional decision-making, that's calculated positioning. Because a photograph wouldn't have changed legal realities. It wouldn't erase financial exposure, but it would have created something else entirely a visual asset powerful enough to reshape perception at the exact moment perception mattered most. And that's exactly what never happened. Now bring Tom Bower back into this, because this is where everything locks into place. Tom Bower wrote months earlier that William would take no prisoners, that the title itself functions as collateral. That income was drying up across every major channel. At the time, it sounded dramatic, maybe even exaggerated. But now, the Highgrove meeting becomes the first real-world test of that entire framework. Limited access granted, institutional endorsement withheld, meeting allowed, photograph denied, and suddenly the prediction isn't theoretical anymore, it's visible, because both sides confirm the same truth after the meeting. The palace knew the value of the photograph. Meghan's circle knew the value of the photograph. And despite that shared understanding, the one thing that mattered most never materialized. That's not miscommunication. That's alignment followed by refusal. So now the question shifts from what happened to when the decision was made. Because think about it carefully. If the palace understood the commercial impact of that image, if Meghan's circle arrived expecting that image, then the outcome was never never going to be decided inside the room. It was decided before anyone even walked in, before Highgrove, before July 11th, before the meeting itself, which means someone somewhere looked at the full picture, the financial pressure, the commercial need, the timing, the optics, and made a call that would define the entire outcome in advance. Allow the meeting, deny the image, and let the silence do the rest. Because 8 words don't just describe a private moment. 8 words can shut down an entire strategy. And if Tom Bauer was right about everything leading up to this, then this wasn't just a single decision. This was confirmation. So here's what still doesn't have a clear answer. If both sides knew the photograph was the prize, if both sides walked into that meeting fully aware of its value, then at what exact moment did the palace decide that the photograph would never exist? And more importantly, who made sure of it?